wait to leave suburbia behind them and trade it in for very cosy country living.
I didn't expect this.
I'll be showing them some wonderful country homes that will take them by surprise.
I am speechless, actually. It's just not what I was expecting.
And as ever, there's the blinding mystery house, which will call for some hand-holding.
Turn around and reveal. Today I'm in Kent, the Garden of England. Now this county is full of history, being home to over 17,000 listed buildings and these beautifully preserved steam engines. So get ready to discover this very special corner of Britain.
Kent lies in the southeast corner of England and is blessed with a spectacular coastline. It's the sea that has shaped this county, renowned for its rich naval history and, of course, the iconic White Cliffs of Dover, a symbol of Britain. Venturing inland is Canterbury, home of the Anglican Church, and the High Weald which Henry VIII referred to as the Garden of England, for it has some of the most fertile land in the UK. But Kent is perhaps most famous for its oast houses, and many of these Victorian hop-drying buildings have been converted into beautiful luxury homes. The northwest of Kent is bordered with Greater London, making it a popular choice with commuters. But as a result, the average detached house here is a massive 34% above the national average at around £325,000. So if you love beautiful countryside and the close proximity to London, then Kent could be for you. Today's property hunters are Phil and Philomena from Sidcup in Kent. Phil's an account director for a health company, and his wife Philomena, who Phil refers to as Phil number 2, works as a PA in London. Phil and Phil have been living in their current 5-bedroom detached house for the last 8 years. But with their 2 daughters having grown up and moved on, and with retirement on the horizon, Phil and Philomena have been dreaming of a fresh start.
Our current home isn't ideal for us anymore. I think it's outgrown us. It's just the 2 of us now, and we don't need this amount of space.
And I think we can't enjoy what we really want, which is the peace and quiet of the countryside.
All this dreaming has left them with a pretty clear idea of what they want from their new home.
We'd like a 3-bedroom detached house with character. It has to be in a quiet road.
Yeah, we'd like an ensuite if possible, and I'd like a kitchen diner, and also I'd quite like to have a range cooker in the kitchen.
Philomena loves cooking, and so having somewhere big enough to entertain is important. She's also very attached to her dining table.
I really love this table. It took me ages to find it, so when we move, there's definitely going to have to be a space for it.
And it must have a double garage or space to build one.
And a fair-sized garden.
Phil and Philomena want to get back to nature to enjoy walking and country pursuits. Phil's also keen to start growing his own vegetables again.
We love being out in the garden, but its shady nature means we're not able to grow vegetables. When we move to the country, that's one of the things we're really looking to be able to do.
He's also keen on Victorian engineering and in particular steam railways.
Yeah, the area we're looking to move to has a couple of restored railway lines. I'd like to do some voluntary work on there.
And there's some vineyards in the area, and I'd quite like to take up a wine tasting course.
Sounds like a good move, but before we start homing in on properties, we've invited a local agent in to give a valuation.
It's a lovely Edwardian family home with a great location. It's an easy walking distance to the local station with good access to London. Nearby there are good schools. All in all, it's a very desirable property, and my recommendation is to market the property at £725,000.
The Phils want to put some money aside for their retirement, leaving them with a budget of £500,000. Will we be able to thrill our Phils and their £500,000 budget in this rather expensive part of the country? Essentially, they're going to get excited about a kitchen diner, open fireplaces, a large garden and a garage to store Phil's tools. So we're going to charm them with properties that have oodles of history and lots of character. But will we deliver? Let's find out. We will be starting our search close to the Kent and Sussex border, around the town of Tenterden, where there are plenty of direct trains into London, useful for Philomena's daily commute into the city. It's not far from the historic spa town of Tunbridge Wells, and I'm pleased to say our search will also take in the High Weald, where we can find some of the most spectacular scenery in the region. Over the course of the next few days, I'll be showing Phil and Phil 3 properties in the local area. They'll be viewing them without knowing the asking price, which I'll be revealing at the end of each tour. And the 4th house will be the Mystery House, a property chosen to put the cat among the pigeons.
So Phil and Phil, welcome to Kent, although I believe you already live in the county.
Only by postcode, we're actually in the London Borough of Bexley.
So it doesn't look like this in the beautiful countryside. Now, originally, your budget was 500,000, but you've added a little bit more.
If we've been looking for a while and we've realised that if we want to get the house of our dreams, we're probably going to have to spend £550,000.
Well, that's great for us because it gives us real flexibility. And I'm really excited about this because Kent is actually my home county. I was born here. So should we start looking at some properties?
Definitely.
Come on then.
Phil and Phil have upped their budget to £550,000. And although they're downsizing, they still want at least 3 bedrooms, a kitchen diner, a garage and a large garden so that Phil can grow his own vegetables. Property number 1 is located at Sissinghurst in the south of the county. It's famous for the stunning National Trust Sissinghurst Castle Gardens, and it's great for commutes as its nearest train station is just 5 miles away in Staplehurst. It has everything you want for day-to-day living, a pub and a couple of shops. The property we're going to see is just off the main road into Sissinghurst.
This is why I brought you here. Take a look at this property.
Certainly different.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Looks quaint, I think.
Quaint, isn't it?
Yeah. Character property, which
It's
is
exactly
what
the
we're
sort of
after.
thing that we'd like to own, I think.
Should we take a look?
Yeah.
Come on in. It's a little warmer in here.
Yeah, it certainly is.
It's a good job we're not too tall. Come through the door. Oh, I like this.
But the original house was actually built in the 16th century, so it's Grade 2 listed.
Right.
But from this partition, this stone wall here onwards, that was built in the 1700s. And then through there into the kitchen, that was built in the 1930s. So it's got areas from all periods in the house.
I like this size as well. I do like to come in to have some sort of room when you walk in.
Great. Well, let's hope I can impress you with the rest of the house. So follow me.
On the way to the kitchen is a cloakroom and a small but bright bedroom, which would be perfect for guests.
But this is what I wanted to bring you to see. The kitchen.
I think you
great.
might
This looks
be
good.
about to make my wife very happy.
Yeah. Range.
You've got the range there. Now
That's something I want.
That heats the whole of the house.
I think
Because
this is
this is one of
this
the
is
important
exactly what you
things.
wanted, wasn't
Yeah.
it? A kitchen like this.
This is quite important for me, certainly, to be able to have a table in the kitchen so that when you've got friends and family, you know, they can chat while you're cooking.
It's nice to walk in as well and look at it and go, I wouldn't have to change anything in here.
You've got the butler's sink there.
I'm the butler.
There you are, we found your
yeah.
place. Then you know what you'll be doing, the washing up.
Plenty of storage too, because that's something that's often lacking in a kitchen.
So a thumbs
Good
up for the
space.
kitchen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Thumbs up for the hallway.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
It is a good start.
Let's keep looking and exploring.
At the other end of the hall in the 17th century part of the house is the dining room packed with period features and just enough room for Philomena's prized possession, her dining table.
I do like my dining room table. It took a while to find it, so
So
I
we're
bought
actually
that.
looking for a house that fits the dining room table, and this fits, so that's
Yeah,
fine.
most people look at it the other way,
Yeah,
don't
no,
they?
no.
So are you ready to step into the oldest part of the house?
Yeah.
And this is the living room.
Inglenook fireplace, that's something we're after.
Yeah.
You could stand up in there.
Yeah. We could.
Put you in there.
Might do that in a moment.
Yeah.
And again, you've got a double aspect. Windows in here, which makes it light, which is great. Every room we've been in has been really light.
It is light and airy for an old house.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the feel of the room? Does it feel quite tranquil to you?
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
it
you-
does. I can still hear the road though. You can't deny that it's there.
So, lots of good points and just one negative so far. Will the deal be clinched when they see upstairs?
You can actually feel the walls
I
almost
go in?
leaning when
Yeah.
you come up here, can't you?
It is quite higgledy-piggledy.
Yeah.
Oh, not too bad a size.
No, the size is fine, and you know, bathrooms are something I can change and alter. So the actual, it's just the size that's important, and the size is fine.
But you did want an ensuite. Now, unfortunately, with this house, we can't get you one. But the good news is the master bedroom is just next door.
Oh, that's
Okay.
handy then.
Welcome to the master bedroom. What do you think?
Well, first impression, it's quite small, I think.
It's light again, isn't it? You've got the windows at both ends.
It is light in here, which is
I haven't
good.
seen anything inside that's put me off so far.
The lovely thing about this room is if you can imagine yourself lying in that bed on a Sunday morning, looking out onto that tree there and that approach. I mean, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Would I be getting a cup of tea brought up to me, do you think?
No.
Can we do that?
No, you'd be getting me the tea.
Quite large here. This is obviously the dressing area.
You would only have
reasonable
one
size.
wardrobe in here, and we have got several wardrobes.
Oh, well, that's not a problem. We'll just get rid of your clothes now.
Yeah.
I don't think I dare comment or start an argument here. The reality of downsizing is beginning to hit home, but there's a little more space up another flight of stairs. Very steep stairs, but I think you'll agree it's worth the climb, because this is the other bedroom.
Oh, this is lovely and light, isn't it? And a cot already, ready for the grandchild.
With this aspect, you've obviously got amazing views on both sides. Dormer windows could be possibly the master bedroom.
It could be,
Yeah.
but I think probably we would keep the master bedroom down on that landing
I
there,
think
wouldn't
the
we?
problem you got is downstairs was one wardrobe. Up here, there are no wardrobes.
What are you saying? Phil?
Well, we've got 4 wardrobes that are completely crammed full at the moment,
You
so
can't really-
there is a problem with storage space, I think, in this house. My concern about wardrobes isn't for me, it's for my wife.
He's very caring, isn't he?
It is, yes.
Although storage may be an issue, they probably need to appreciate that downsizing actually means getting rid of things. But what about outside? Will that suit Phil's DIY needs and his green fingers?
Quite a mature garden over here. You've got your vegetable patch, you've got your greenhouse, you've got 3 apple trees, so fresh fruit in the autumn. You've got the weeping ash, and obviously you've got that beautiful pond. And then you've got the garage that you so want.
The gardens themselves, I think, size-wise are fine.
So both Phils, you know what's coming next. How much do you think a property like this is on the market for?
I think it's probably about 525.
Phil?
Were it not for the road, it would be a lot more than that. I actually think they will struggle to get over 500,000 on this house. I'd actually price it at 485.
485.
It's quite low.
Well, this house is actually on the market for £465,000. So you actually were closest. Cheaper than you thought.
I think it would be worth an awful lot more were it not for its position, I think.
Well, before you finally make up your minds, why don't you go and have one last look around it?
Okay, thank you.
Phil to move to this part of Kent to be nearer their daughter and the grandchild they're expecting. They know the county fairly well as they live in Kent already, but they don't know the areas we're looking at, so they're keen to explore some of the pretty towns and villages that dot the Kent countryside. First up, Tenterden.
There's so much going on here, isn't there?
Yeah.
So much better than Sidcup High Street.
We'll say that again.
Tenterden is typical of many of the Roman towns in Kent, in that it has an important trade and military history. Major development has passed Tenterden by, and the town remains one of the most unspoilt in Kent.
It's a nice antique shop.
The tree-lined high street has a selection of shops and historical buildings, and is dominated by the glorious pinnacles of St Mildred's Church. Like the town it overlooks, St Mildred's also has a rich history.
Do you reckon we can go to the top of that?
And after a quick, if exhausting climb up the 150 steps to the tower's summit,
Are we more than halfway?
it's clear why.
Oh gosh, wow. Look at this. Amazing.
It was in towers like this that beacons were lit to warn of the Spanish Armada's approach.
We can renew our vows.
I don't think
And this
so.
time you can promise to obey.
Never.
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 Another must is to visit a local vineyard and winery, as Philomena is keen to take up wine tasting.
Here at Tenterden, there's 25 acres of vineyard,
Yeah.
but we source from about 250 acres all across the southeast.
I'm really looking forward to growing more of my own produce and perhaps even a couple of vines.
Well, Garden of England, absolutely the perfect place to come. And I'll tell you what the best bit of it is, the wines are fantastic. Do you want to try some?
Yeah, let's go and taste them.
After years of being sniffed at by our European cousins, English wine is beginning to be taken seriously. So much so that the French are even looking to buy land in this region to make champagne.
So we're going to taste some. Hey.
Although the grapes are only harvested in October, the winemaking process goes on throughout the year, and inside the winery you can take a guided tour to see the complete production process.
Let's see what you make of this one.
It smells like summer.
Oh, it's very fresh, isn't it? Fruity, I think.
Finest English wine.
Just a few miles away in Rolvenden, on the edge of the High Weald, is Great Maytham Hall.
Perhaps they're going to show us something like this.
The pristine 18-acre landscape gardens are impressive.
Look at the views, look.
The old walled garden is what makes this place unique. The famous author Frances Hodgson Burnett lived here from 1898 to 1907.
I think we can go in.
This is where she wrote The Secret Garden, one of the most famous children's books of all time.
Why would you want to live in London when you could move to somewhere like this?
For our next house, we're off now to Horsmondon, down towards the East Sussex border. What will please Phil is that it's packed full of history, as the guns for Charles I's forces during the English Civil War came straight from the local ironworks. There's also no shortage of things to do, with a weekly farmers market and an annual fair on the village heath.
So a nice quiet country lane, because I know that's important for you two. And here's the property we want you to take a look at.
Well, that does look impressive.
Looks stunning.
It's an 18th century weatherboarded house.
Right.
It's Grade 2 listed. It was originally a pub. If you look, you can see it's attached to the house next door.
Oh, right.
But apparently the local farmer got so upset with his workers coming to frequent the pub that he actually bought it and turned it into a house.
Oh,
Let's go and have a look inside.
Okay.
Although it has large grounds, the double garage Phil wants is missing. However, planning permission has been granted in the past.
And here's the kitchen.
this looks very promising.
A good size for you two?
Yeah, it's very good size, yeah.
And Phil, you're going to love this flooring, this oak flooring. It comes from French railway carriages. There you are, you see?
Yeah, then, isn't it?
That's going to warm the heart, isn't it? Granite worktops.
Yeah, do.
Very nice. Well, let me take you
My
through to the
taste.
dining room. So we're now walking into the older part of the house, 18th century.
I notice the ceilings aren't as low as some beamed rooms that you go into, so it's quite nice. It makes it feel more spacious, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Those beams actually are from Chatham Dockyard.
Okay.
So we know the house is 18th century, but they're probably far, far older. So it might have even gone around the world a few times.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this room as a dining room? Would it work for you?
Yes, it's great. I think it's really lovely.
So you've got the casual dining in the kitchen and then the formal dining in here.
And what about the fireplace? Does that work?
And it does actually. It's currently closed, but it shares the flue with the range. So small job, and if you wanted a nice fire, that'd be quite easy to do.
In the depths of winter, it's always quite nice to have an open fire.
You could get your guests to keep an eye on it while you're preparing the food. So it's a great entertaining room. You've also got a downstairs cloakroom opposite the front door. I brought you in the tradesman's entrance.
That's the only one I'm normally allowed in.
And then this leads straight into the living room. Now what about this?
Oh, that's really great, yeah. Just the thing we're after.
I
Inglenook
like that.
fireplace.
That's, we did ask for a fireplace, didn't we? We asked for an Inglenook, and I think you've delivered one.
I love watching your faces, because both of you are like this, trying to take it all in.
Although it's not a huge room, it has quite a spacious feel to it, I
Yeah.
think.
It has.
Suit me down to the ground, I think.
So the downstairs of this property is working out quite well.
Yeah.
Got some more good stuff upstairs.
Back through the dining room are the main stairs leading up to the first floor, where we find two characterful bedrooms.
Down here, I like to think of this as your guest room.
This delightful snug room is ideal for family or friends, and even has its own ensuite. Further along the hall is this simply furnished family bathroom.
But this is what I really wanted to show you, the master bedroom.
Oh, this is great. This is just what sort of bedroom we're after.
You don't often see a bedroom with features like this in, do you? And the fact that the wardrobes are already there means that you've not got to clutter the room up anymore.
He's a man after my own heart, worrying about storage
And there's a
space.
fireplace.
Lovely fireplace. It has actually been closed off by the owners because their cat kept jumping up. But you can open that. What do you think about the size, though, of this room?
Yeah, it's a good size.
Is this what you had in mind when you were escaping to the country?
I actually think it's better than what we had. It's really good. I'm really impressed by this, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Well, this is the master. I've got something else to show you. So, Phil, I want you to lead the way up the second flight of stairs.
Up in the attic, the owners have made ingenious use of the loft space.
Well, this is different. Oh, God. I didn't expect this.
Oh, gosh. Oh, well, this is another extra bedroom, isn't it?
You certainly have to mind your head. We are literally in the rafters.
Yeah.
And you can imagine our grandchildren growing up and wanting to sleep up here away from everybody else. So I love it.
Opposite is another smaller room, ideal as an office or hobby space, as long as you can get your hobby up here, that is. If your pastime requires a bit more room, then there's plenty of space outside.
So there's a third of an acre, sort of split into three the way it's been done.
Yeah.
Quite mature. I know you're a keen gardener, Phil.
Yes, I am.
Could you work with this as a canvas?
Nothing phases me about it because I think I want to grow vegetables and I think there's plenty of space and it's got the right aspect to actually do that as well. I think this size sets the standard for any other houses that we see, so...
Sounding positive, I like that. Let's take one last look at this house. Favourable comments throughout. I don't think we hit a negative, did we?
No. No garage and it's attached.
OK, we found two. All right, well, the garage we could possibly fix.
Yeah.
So bearing that in mind, what do you think a house like this is on the market for?
You want to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay. Well, I would imagine, because it is attached and it does need a garage, it's probably priced, I think, at about 525.
OK. And Phil, what do you think?
No, I think it's going to be higher than that. I think it's nearer the 5.5.
5.5. This house is on the market for £495,000.
That's good. That's very
And
good.
that's really good.
So it does leave you a little bit of change, should this be the property of your dreams, to build your garage and your workshop with all your tools.
It made me smile.
There we are. So with that in mind, do you want to have one last look round?
Yeah,
Yes,
we will
please.
do.
OK. See you in a minute.
Want to swap their 5-bedroom detached house and downsize to a period cottage in the Kent countryside. They have a budget of £550,000. So far they've seen 2 properties which have gone down well, but coming up they're to be left completely stunned.
Phil, you're speechless.
We both are, really.
And they're also about to be blown away by a very large bathroom.
It's enormous.
Have you ever seen a bathroom quite like this?
right.
Well, it's the beginning of day 2, and I thought yesterday went pretty well. We showed them properties at the lower end of their budget, but today we're upping the ante, so the houses they see might be a little bit more expensive. I hope they brought their chequebook. Properties we're going to see today, we're pushing it a little bit, because I know your budget was $500,000 to start off with, and then moved up to $550,000. But how would you feel if we looked a little bit more than that?
I think we've got to be a bit realistic. Things, what we're after may be costing more than what we at first thought.
It's not an issue with finding the money, it's actually an issue with finding the right house.
Despite being right in the countryside, property number 3 in the village of Boughton, Chelsea is only 4 miles south of Maidstone, so it has great train links into London. The village has paths of character, which is just what Phil and Phil want from their ideal home. Set on the Ragstone Ridge between the Weald of Kent and the North Downs, many of the local buildings are made of local sandstone quarried in the village.
Now, I couldn't bring you to Kent and not show you one of the county's most traditional oast houses. It has been restored. You've got the kiln and you've got the cows at the top. And can you see the Invicta horse?
Yeah, you know you're in
You
Kent
know
then.
that, the emblem of Kent. Now, the property, it is attached, but you get the roundel. Well, you actually get 2 because there's one behind this one.
That looks pretty good, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does.
Yeah. So how do you fancy living in the round?
Can't wait.
Come on then.
I think the 2 Phils seem to be struggling with downsizing, and it's why I brought them to this property, which offers them a bit more flexibility.
And this is the hallway.
It's big, isn't it?
It is big.
And do you know what I've just noticed?
Go on.
Arctics.
Your pet hate.
Yeah, I know.
Got a downstairs cloakroom there. You've got some storage, plenty of storage in this house. Let me take you through to the living room.
Well, it's a good size, isn't it? Nice big room.
I didn't expect it to be like this inside. So we're looking at traditional type houses, but this is quite contemporary almost.
Yeah, this is more contemporary, I would say.
But that doesn't detract from the possibility of what you could do with it. So.
Well, you do like a project,
Yeah.
and I think this house might have a few projects in mind for you. But we're in the old barn part of the Oast House, and now I'm going to take you through to the roundel, because this is the bit that I find a piece de resistance. Just walking through here. And here we are, the first roundel used as the dining room.
Big space, isn't it? Lovely space. Big enough for that table?
Yeah, and you could see how you could change it. It seems a little bit empty at the moment and a bit
Hollow, I think.
hollow.
Yeah.
Well, we know you like projects, but this is really going to get you thinking. So we're crossing through the hallway into the second roundel, the thick walls, and here is your kitchen.
Right?
Yeah, I am speechless actually. It's just not what I was expecting.
What sort of kitchen can you envisage putting in here? Because look at the space.
It's an amazing space. I think you could have a beautiful kitchen, couldn't you? You could really go to town.
Now, the only thing is, as we're going from room to room, I'm racking up costs in my head as to what it's going to do. So,
Well, should we take you through and see if the rest of the house does
Yeah.
it justice? Okay, if you want to go back through that door.
okay.
I can see Phil getting very busy with his tools in this kitchen, and fortunately down the hall there is a good sized garage to keep them all in, but I'm more interested in showing them upstairs.
It has loads of storage, it has loads of rooms. You've got two large bedrooms in there, and this would be your master bedroom.
Oh, this is a great size.
Size for it,
it
yeah.
is, and good views looking out through the window. So
Great views.
that's quite good, isn't it? There's quite a lot you could do in here, isn't there? You could fill it and make it look a bit cosier, I think.
So this would work for you as a master?
Yeah, it would.
This room, it gives you an idea of what you could do if you did up this property. But it's actually got an ensuite, and that really gives you a feel of, with a modern touch, what this Oast House has. It's probably its potential. What do you think?
Oh, they've done this nicely, yeah. I think this has really been done well.
Has been done well, and it's got a shower. Are you bath or shower people?
Shower, really.
I couldn't imagine not having a shower in the morning anymore. It's something that we do.
Well, just remember this for now, because
Okay.
I'm going to show you something completely different. This is your family bathroom.
Oh, right.
It's enormous.
Oh, yeah. Don't think I've ever seen a bathroom quite like this.
Oh, right. It's certainly unique. You could have some fun in here, couldn't you? But the space is enormous, isn't it? Of course, doing a normal bathroom, you know how much it costs and how much time it takes. To put a bathroom in here, it's going to take a lot more time and a lot more money as well. I just noticed, though, there are no windows in here, are there?
Well, hopefully,
Yeah.
I'm not going to disappoint you on that scale, because this property does have a room with a view. Some of the rooms in this house do feel quite closed in, but you really can't say the same for this.
I know, you get a real sense of the outside now, don't you?
And how would you use this room if this was yours?
I think our grandchildren will come up here with their toys, don't you?
Yeah, when they arrive. Yeah.
It would actually make a
Yeah.
fantastic bedroom.
And do we like the beams?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I like it as we came up the stairs. I like that beam across there.
I can see Phil and Phil are warming to this house, but changing it to suit the style they want might be just a bit too big a project, even for Phil.
I think there is quite a bit to be done.
Yeah, there is.
Cost-wise, I think it may be a step too far, but I don't know. You have to take another look
you do.
and really sort of weigh it up.
I don't think this is a huge project because most of it is cosmetic. You know, once you plastered the house, then you're into really decorating. And, you know, there's a bathroom and a kitchen. But it is a big space. That's the only thing.
It is a huge space. It also has lovely ground around it, so let's take a look at that. So here are the gardens.
Yeah, so it's quite pretty, I think, out here.
A manageable size for you, do you think?
Yeah, and it's not overlooked at all, is it? Which is quite nice.
You've got some
Yeah, good
sheds
size.
in the corner there, which you could either keep or perhaps, Phil, that could be your vegetable patch.
Yeah, and it could, and it's quite plain. So, you know, could do lots with it, I think.
So we're quite liking the garden?
Yeah, well, you're going to ask us how much in a moment.
Well, I am. That's why I wanted you to look at that view, because you're one step ahead of me. You know, people love living in Oast houses because they are so spectacular. But the question is, how much is this property worth? Phil, what do you think it's on the market
I
for?
think ladies should always go first.
Oh, that's not fair.
Still mulling it over.
Yeah, he's cheating. It's not fair. I reckon it's going to go for about 470. I'm probably way off mark, but 470.
I'm actually going to go a bit less than that. I actually reckon it's 450.
470 and 450. Well, the property has only just come on the market, and it's currently valued at £599,950.
How way off are we?
Well, given that, the amount of money that needs to be spent on it, I just, no, I'm flabbergasted actually.
And also, it's a large part of your budget. In fact, it's over your budget. But it is early days. We know what the market's like at the moment. So I want you to think of that now with fresh eyes. Why don't you go back inside and have a look at the interior and what you might do if you chose to live in this property.
Okay.
See you in a minute.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the mystery property, and this is my favourite part of the show because we show our buyers something completely different, and I think Phil and Phil are going to be in for a big surprise. In your hearts, what would you love the mystery property to be?
Well, if it was an old railway station, that'd be good, but I know there aren't any of those around. It'd probably be
Barn conversion,
or a water tower. How about a lighthouse? That would be good.
A
There's
lighthouse.
no lighthouse in the
How
middle of
far are we
Kent,
from
I
the
don't think.
coast? For the mystery property, we're slipping across the border near to the tiny hamlet of Netherfield in East Sussex. Although just a hamlet, it boasts a couple of shops and a pub. And if it's history you're after, then just up the road is Battle, the site of the 1066 Battle of Hastings.
But your eyes have instantly caught the mystery property.
Wow. A barn conversion.
Yeah. And it's really nice looking, isn't it? It's great.
It looks contemporary, but it actually is a Grade 2 listed building.
Doesn't look it.
Yeah. The way it's been done really carefully. And just to the side, there isn't a garage, but there is permission to have a double garage built there.
That's fine, as long as I can put my garage up.
So can you imagine yourself living in a building like this?
I can, yeah. I can't wait to get inside, actually.
What about you, Phil?
I'm not sure, so I think I'll reserve judgment till I get in there.
Can we go inside, please?
Are you desperate to? I'll put you out of your misery. Come on, then.
This stunning barn conversion has been painstakingly taken apart and put back together again, perfectly marrying tradition with cutting-edge modernity.
Here we are, the glass hallway.
Yeah. Certainly different style to anything we've seen.
I wouldn't expect this in a barn.
It's very, very different, isn't it? What are your first impressions?
Well, as I said, I was expecting to walk into a barn, and this clearly isn't just a barn, is it? So,
This is a house of two halves. I like to think of this as the guest area. You've got a fabulous York stone through here, lots of glass, and this would be the guest bedroom.
Well,
Feeling speechless.
I think we both are, really.
What do you think about the room itself for your guests?
I think the guests would like it. I think they would think it was so different. It's not like anything else they were likely to stay in.
You can see, can't you, the original oak beams, and there's some modern ones obviously have had to be used to make it into this room.
Although there's a lot of glass, it doesn't feel cold particularly. No, interesting, I think.
The extensive use of glass creates a solar gain and actually heats the property, keeping the warmth inside.
it's nice to see something completely different. It is nice to see it. Whether we could live with it, well, we don't know yet, do we? But
We would never have probably
No.
chosen to look at this, so it's quite a surprise, yeah.
Just like here, next door has the signature high-voltage ceilings and underfloor heating to warm up your toes on the way to the bathroom.
So there's your bathroom for your guests. Go in and have a look.
Oh, this is a nice size. It's, yeah, I like the type, like that radiator.
Radiators, yeah.
Quirky, that one, isn't it?
You'd not have to be shy with all that glass when you take a shower.
But now I want you to trust me, so step on out, Phil. Hold my hands. I'm going to take one of you to close your eyes.
I'll close their eyes.
Because now is the important bit. This is where you two could possibly live.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep them closed. I want you to turn around and reveal.
Oh, the spiral staircase.
Staircase.
But what a spiral staircase.
It's all one space.
This is contemporary living, isn't it?
It is contemporary living in the country.
God
You don't know what to
I
say?
don't really know what to say.
You're not speechless.
No,
You couldn't be.
Nice.
It's an unusual kitchen, completely different from anything else we've seen.
It is. That's actually a German kitchen, all handmade, all mod cons there. Sympathetic lighting, so it's nice and bright and airy, because obviously this doesn't have the glass, but it doesn't detract from the rest of the barn.
It's like something you see in the magazine.
It is, yeah, yeah.
So you do have your dining area very close to the kitchen.
Whether that's a big enough space for my table, I'm not sure, or whether the table would fit in, really.
But as an entrance, when you look at this room, all that light, and what it really does is reflect off this staircase, this glass staircase. It costs £30,000. How's that for a statement? 30,000. It's actually suspended from the two beams. It's a massive feat of engineering, and it literally just hangs there.
That is a lovely view to look out there. It's almost like having a big picture.
Let's wander through the room.
What's really clever is the use of glass. The large windows bring the outside in, and the floating staircase almost disappears.
It's the first room I've seen where a large flat screen TV doesn't look large. Yeah, we could outdo our friend Keith, who's got the largest one we've ever seen, but could probably get a 100-inch one on there, I think.
When you first considered moving sort of properly into the country, did you ever think of an older property with a modern twist?
We were thinking quite traditional, and it's nice to come in somewhere like this. I think we need to, you know, think about, could we live here?
There's something there that's appealing to you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's just that, you know, being different and having somewhere where you can bring people that you can talk about the history of it, when people come along, and you get a chance to do something different.
Well, this room is dominated by this amazing staircase, and let's take a look up here.
Certainly a grand entrance.
Amazing. Gosh.
Wherever you are in this property, you get those amazing views outside. You're also on intimate terms with your neighbours, because this is your bedroom.
Well, it's certainly big. The height makes it seem, you know, much larger than the floor space, doesn't it?
It's a good size,
Yeah.
and but not too much storage in here. Don't see much.
Where do they keep their clothes, I wonder?
That is a very good question. They obviously are minimalists. Yes. We've seen one big wardrobe in one of the bedrooms, and that is it.
It's certainly different. It's not a normal way of living.
Neither is this amazing ensuite, which, as with everything else in this bespoke property, is finished to the highest of standards, and, as Phil may be wondering, could be cranking up the asking price.
So here's your garden. You've got the railway sleepers along here. You've got the York stone here, nice little private dining area.
Yeah, I think you could put some more stuff around here to make it a bit prettier, couldn't
It
it?
suits the house, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
It suits the house, yes. You wouldn't imagine a rose bush being there.
No.
It'd have to be a striking plant.
Yeah, or grasses or something like
Grasses,
that.
bamboo,
that would,
perhaps.
Yeah, that would suit.
And then obviously you've got the railway sleepers and the York stone leading up to the rest of the garden. It's a little bit of land up here, but the great thing about this area is you really get to appreciate that barn.
Yeah,
Yes, you can see
As
that.
a recreation garden, it is a lovely view, isn't it?
So how much do you think this property is on the market for?
Well, no expense has been spared in that house, has it? If you look at everything that's in there, just to get the cost of the fabric back, it's got to be on the market for over 600,000. I'd probably say 620.
620, okay. Phil, what do you think?
I don't think I'll go as high as that. I reckon it's 600,000. Yeah, 600,000.
Puts out Bambi's
600,000. Well, I have to tell you that Mrs. Phil
Yeah.
is the closest, because this is on the market for £595,000.
That's quite a surprise, isn't it?
And do you fancy the idea of modern living in the countryside? Because it is very contemporary.
How much to rent it for a year, do you reckon?
I'm liking your style, might have to negotiate. Well, on that thought, go and take another look round.
Phil and Phil have seen all the properties, so it's time to collect their thoughts and make a decision.
Well, it's decision time, and we've seen such a range of properties. My head is spinning, but what about theirs? Let's find out. So, Phil and Phil, well, our journey's nearly over, but we've seen some beautiful part of Kent and East Sussex, mustn't forget that. But the question is, have you enjoyed yourselves?
I've more than enjoyed it. It's been really good fun.
Definitely. We've seen some properties that perhaps we wouldn't have looked at ourselves.
Well, the first property we saw, the weatherboarded house, what were your first impressions when you saw that?
I thought it was a nice looking house. Obviously the road impacted on our view of it, but once we were inside, it was full of surprises.
And I think previously I might not have even looked at a house of that age. And that's one view that I certainly changed when we went inside.
Now, what about that beautiful house that used to be a pub?
I think that was my favourite. It was a lovely looking house, and then when we went through the front door, I thought, you know, the kitchen was just what I wanted.
I guess when I walked in, I thought, I've got a battle on here, because I knew that Phil had fallen in love with it. And for myself, I thought, what am I going to do if I move into this house?
We gave it all the land you wanted,
did.
and actually I think that could have been your project, so there you are, you've got a starting
Perhaps
point
I'll go and
there.
drive steam trains when it rains.
Certainly a strong contender, I would say.
Now, we did have quite a stretch in the budget, and we did stretch it with the Oast House.
Yeah.
What were your first impressions when you saw it?
When we drove up to it, I was quite excited because I hadn't thought about going to look in an Oast house.
So it was inviting, you wanted to go inside, but we were a bit disappointed when we did get inside.
In certain areas, you just wouldn't know that you were in an old Oast house.
I think it'd be fair to say that we've seen quite different properties over the
Yeah.
last few days, but I don't think you're expecting anything like the Mystery House.
It was so different from anything I would ever probably choose to look at.
The excitement you felt from just walking in and looking at it, you couldn't deny that.
You
certainly
had to
couldn't.
admire all the work they'd done in it, and they'd got it, they'd got it spot on.
Well, that brings me to crunch time, really, because we're going to have to make a decision. Out of all the properties that you've seen over the last few days, is there anyone that you're really interested in?
I think that's pretty.
It's the Oast House for you, I know. The old pub, I think, for me. You could come and have a
It was
pint.
in the perfect place. It had a wonderful garden. There was no road noise. And I think if the price is right, the other areas I'm prepared to ignore. I think that was a great place to live.
Well, that's great news, but what's the next step?
We'd like to take another look at it, certainly.
And try to establish
The right price
the
for
right
us,
price
yeah.
for the house.
Yeah, if the price was right, we might well consider putting an offer in it.
So quite possibly, we might have found you the house of your dreams so you can escape to the country.
I think you might have done.
Meeting a couple who can't wait to leave suburbia behind them and trade it in for very cosy country living.
I didn't expect this.
I'll be showing them some wonderful country homes that will take them by surprise.
I am speechless, actually. It's just not what I was expecting.
And as ever, there's the blinding mystery house, which will call for some hand-holding.
Turn around and reveal. Today I'm in Kent, the Garden of England. Now this county is full of history, being home to over 17,000 listed buildings and these beautifully preserved steam engines. So get ready to discover this very special corner of Britain.
Kent lies in the southeast corner of England and is blessed with a spectacular coastline. It's the sea that has shaped this county, renowned for its rich naval history and, of course, the iconic White Cliffs of Dover, a symbol of Britain. Venturing inland is Canterbury, home of the Anglican Church, and the high weald which Henry VIII referred to as the Garden of England, for it has some of the most fertile land in the UK. But Kent is perhaps most famous for its oast houses, and many of these Victorian hop-drying buildings have been converted into beautiful luxury homes. The northwest of Kent is bordered with Greater London, making it a popular choice with commuters. But as a result, the average detached house here is a massive 34% above the national average at around £325,000. So if you love beautiful countryside and the close proximity to London, then Kent could be for you. Today's property hunters are Phil and Philomena from Sidcup in Kent. Phil's an account director for a health company, and his wife Philomena, who Phil refers to as Phil number 2, works as a PA in London. Phil and Phil have been living in their current 5-bedroom detached house for the last 8 years. But with their 2 daughters having grown up and moved on, and with retirement on the horizon, Phil and Philomena have been dreaming of a fresh start.
Our current home isn't ideal for us anymore. I think it's outgrown us. It's just the 2 of us now, and we don't need this amount of space.
And I think we can't enjoy what we really want, which is the peace and quiet of the countryside.
All this dreaming has left them with a pretty clear idea of what they want from their new home.
We'd like a 3-bedroom detached house with character. It has to be in a quiet road.
Yeah, we'd like an ensuite if possible, and I'd like a kitchen diner, and also I'd quite like to have a range cooker in the kitchen.
Philomena loves cooking, and so having somewhere big enough to entertain is important. She's also very attached to her dining table.
I really love this table. It took me ages to find it, so when we move, there's definitely going to have to be a space for it.
And it must have a double garage or space to build one.
And a fair-sized garden.
Phil and Philomena want to get back to nature to enjoy walking and country pursuits. Phil's also keen to start growing his own vegetables again.
We love being out in the garden, but its shady nature means we're not able to grow vegetables. When we move to the country, that's one of the things we're really looking to be able to do.
He's also keen on Victorian engineering and in particular steam railways.
Yeah, the area we're looking to move to has a couple of restored railway lines. I'd like to do some voluntary work on there.
And there's some vineyards in the area, and I'd quite like to take up a wine tasting course.
Sounds like a good move, but before we start homing in on properties, we've invited a local agent in to give a valuation.
It's a lovely Edwardian family home in a great location. It's an easy walking distance to the local station with good access to London. Nearby there are good schools. All in all, it's a very desirable property, and my recommendation is to market the property at £725,000.
The Phils want to put some money aside for their retirement, leaving them with a budget of £500,000. Will we be able to thrill our Phils and their £500,000 budget in this rather expensive part of the country? Essentially, they're going to get excited about a kitchen diner, open fireplaces, a large garden and a garage to store Phil's tools. So we're going to charm them with properties that have oodles of history and lots of character. But will we deliver? Let's find out. We will be starting our search close to the Kent and Sussex border, around the town of Tenterden, where there are plenty of direct trains into London, useful for Philomena's daily commute into the city. It's not far from the historic spa town of Tunbridge Wells, and I'm pleased to say our search will also take in the High Weald, where we can find some of the most spectacular scenery in the region. Over the course of the next few days, I'll be showing Phil and Phil 3 properties in the local area. They'll be viewing them without knowing the asking price, which I'll be revealing at the end of each tour. And the 4th house will be the Mystery House, a property chosen to put the cat among the pigeons. So Phil and Phil, welcome to Kent, although I believe you already live in the county.
Only by postcode, we're actually in the London Borough of Bexley.
So it doesn't look like this in the beautiful countryside. Now, originally, your budget was £500,000, but you've added a little bit more.
If we've been looking for a while, and we've realised that if we want to get the house of our dreams, we're probably going to have to spend £550,000.
Well, that's great for us because it gives us real flexibility. And I'm really excited about this because Kent is actually my home county. I was born here. So should we start looking at some properties?
Definitely.
Come on then. Phil and Phil have upped their budget to £550,000. And although they're downsizing, they still want at least 3 bedrooms, a kitchen diner, a garage and a large garden so that Phil can grow his own vegetables. Property number 1 is located at Sissinghurst in the south of the county. It's famous for the stunning National Trust Sissinghurst Castle Gardens, and it's great for commutes as its nearest train station is just 5 miles away in Staplehurst. It has everything you want for day-to-day living, a pub and a couple of shops. The property we're going to see is just off the main road into Sissinghurst. This is why I brought you here. Take a look at this property.
Certainly different.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Looks quaint, I think.
Quaint, isn't it?
Yeah. Character property, which
It's
is
exactly
what we're
the sort of
after.
thing that we'd like to own, I think.
Should we take a look?
Yeah.
Come on in. It's a little warmer in here.
Yeah, it certainly is.
It's a good job we're not too tall. Come through the door. Oh, I like this.
But the original house was actually built in the 16th century, so it's Grade 2 listed.
Right.
But from this partition, this stone wall here onwards, that was built in the 1700s. And then through there into the kitchen, that was built in the 1930s. So it's got areas from all periods in the house.
I like this size
bit.
as well. I do like to come in to have some sort of room when you walk in.
Great. Well, let's hope I can impress you with the rest of the house. So follow me. On the way to the kitchen is a cloakroom and a small but bright bedroom, which would be perfect for guests. But this is what I wanted to bring you to see. The kitchen.
I think you might be about to make my wife very happy.
Yeah. Range.
You've got the range there. Now that's
something I want.
That heats the whole of the house.
I think
This
this
is one of the
is exactly
important
what you
things.
wanted, wasn't
Yeah.
it? A kitchen like this.
This is quite important for me, certainly. To be able to have a table in the kitchen so that when you've got friends and family, you know, they can chat while you're cooking.
It's nice to walk in as well and look at it and go, I wouldn't have to change anything in here.
You've got the butler's sink there.
I'm the butler.
There you are, we found your
yeah.
place. Then you know what you'll be doing, the washing up.
Plenty of storage too, because that's something that's often lacking in a kitchen.
So a thumbs
Good
up for the
space.
kitchen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Thumbs up for the hallway.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
It is a good start.
Let's keep looking and